Hey everybody, Debbie here with another Stratego game analysis. This is game number 11 of our Road to Gold series with the flag up front. If I win this game, I will reach the gold level. So in actuality, this is really game number 103 since I started at the 100 ELO level. And that was, if you go back to my Mystery Player series, that's when I started. That first game was when I was at ELO 100. So this was my screen name that I used. So if you ever played Underdog 53, that was my screen name. I tried using Underdog, someone took that. I think I had Underdog 1, someone took that, and then I got frustrated and said, well, Underdog 53, no one took that, so that was good enough. All right, we're playing a Silver General player, so let's see how we do. So I move pieces around early on. One of the things I do like is I never did perfect the a good setup. I would always wing it. I had a base setup, but basically my high pieces on this side and the 6 bombs over here. And you want to try to protect your bombs. Looking back, I think a major is the right piece for me next to the flag. I probably should have a major over here instead of just a captain. I do like these this bomb setup, these 4 bombs the way they are, because people, if they hit this bomb, they tend to think this is a bomb and this is a bomb, and then they will attack this piece and this piece. Also, sometimes they'll, if they hit this with their miner and open it up, and then you take the miner, then they might come in with a high piece to try to capture the flag, and it's the old double vertical bomb that gets them. So I do like this. I really do like that setup with the bombs. Now remember, when you have 6 bombs on one side, you want to try to not let low pieces find the bombs. You want your opponent to have to work to get these bombs. You want them to lose high pieces like at least the lieutenant, but really you want captains and majors to hit the bombs. So protect your bombs, even if you have to lose a captain. One other thing, I probably should have my general higher up. If I did this again with the flag up front, I would have my general in the 2nd row, so I can counterattack a lot faster. All right, so I don't go up and over anymore because I think a lot of people watch my YouTube channel, and if you go up here, a lot of times if they have a scout here, they would hit this piece and you would lose right away. So I try to be different. So that's pretty bold. He comes right in with the major. Ideally, I really don't want to swap, but he might go over here and take my spy, and then my Marshal gets revealed. So that's no good. So when you're playing defense, it's okay to swap an unknown piece with a known piece. If they're the same value, it's okay to do that. But on offense, you don't want to do that. So we'll see that coming up. But here I'm basically forced to swap majors. I probably should have moved my captain up. And so that was a bad play there. And then I could have got the lieutenant. So we covered the flag. So now I have to take, I want to protect this bomb. Remember, that's a lieutenant. Okay, now what's the play here? This is a lieutenant. This is my captain. What would you do and why? Pause the video and think about what would you do and why. And what problem might you have if you take the lieutenant? If you take the lieutenant with the captain, what might be a problem? Think about that. That's what you have to think about when you play Stratego. And then when you go back, you might want to change your setup. So this problem I have here is basically a setup flaw, and so that's when you go back and review your games, then you can change some pieces to make your setup stronger. So anyway, what would you do right now? I think probably the best move still is to take the lieutenant with the captain. But if I take the lieutenant with the captain, then if this piece here is a scout, he can A, scout my general, or B, move right here and scout my spy, because a lot of times you want to find out these pieces behind the lake. They're usually, a marshal, a spy maybe, or general, colonel. So you if this was a scout and I move over here, he could come to this spot and that would kind of screw me. So if you have a spy maybe here, it's probably a good idea to have a scout over here and then maybe a scout where this general is. So then you don't get caught in that situation unless he has 3 scouts here. So I decided not to take the lieutenant because I don't play so well without my spy early in the game. I need my spy, so I decided it's not worth it. If I have to swap lieutenants, then we'll have to swap lieutenants. So that kind of makes sense too. I move here, and he probably wondered why didn't I take him? So this probably has him confused now. He's probably like, why didn't you take me? But now that probably gives him an idea. If he really thinks strategically as a Stratego player, he would probably wonder why I didn't move this piece, and he could figure it out. He could say, well, if this was a scout, he could find out what this piece is. So he probably wants to know what this piece is, or what he wants to know what this piece is. He probably could figure out that these 2 pieces might be important. So anyway, so we get his lieutenant. So that turned out to be pretty good. And now he thinks this is probably higher than a lieutenant. So then this piece has to be, that was a misclick. Now my captain is known. And I think what my opponent does right here is something you do not really want to do, especially on offense. When you know the opponent's piece, he knew this was a captain, and I didn't know what this piece was, then swapping basically helps me out. Because this piece, an unknown piece, is much more valuable than a known piece, because you can pretend this is anything. So he really should come down with a major or maybe a colonel to try to get this captain. He should not come with an unknown a captain to swap. That's a mistake you don't want to do. I used to play like that when I first started playing. I would swap pieces and then I would scout behind it to try to find the marshal and general. Basically, try to find the marshal, and then I was good enough to win a lot of games that way. But you can only go so far doing that. you really need to risk pieces and try to get information. So most of the time players come up with a +1 piece, so one piece higher. So they would come up with a major. But some people think it's better to come up with a +2 piece, like a colonel, because you figure a colonel might be defending a captain, because you would think a major would come take the colonel. So, but it's riskier, and I tell most beginners to just come up with a +1, +1 rank higher. You take this with a major, and then you find maybe a colonel or a marshal or general. And in this case, if he would have attacked with a major, he would have got the captain for free, except that he would have revealed his major. So every time you reveal a piece, you're giving information to the opponent, and that's negative for your side. And then he would either have to keep on attacking with his major, or he would have to come back and try to protect it or hide it, and maybe hope that I would forget what it was. So try not to swap pieces on the offensive side. Defensively, you might be forced to swap an unknown, unrevealed piece with a known piece. But on the offensive side, you really want to attack with at least +1 and maybe sometimes +2. And if you go online and look at all the high level games from all the top platinum players, most of the time they will attack +1. But I think a lot of it depends on the what part of the game, if it's in the beginning of the game, in the middle of the game, when to use +1 or +2. Also, how many pieces are defending the piece that's being attacked. And then if you have multiple attacks going on. But I think for beginners, psychologically, for example, if you came down here with a colonel and then lost it, I think it's a lot easier for a beginner to be behind a major than being down a colonel to get a captain. So that's why I tend to say most beginners, until they really get some experience, they should attack with just one rank higher. All right, so he swaps. I move up, try to protect the bomb. And he doesn't buy that. I'm hoping he goes into the bomb, but he doesn't. And this is not good now. So he found this bomb. If he thinks this is a bomb, then he can almost figure out my setup. He's like, oh, this is the weak side, and could be a lot of bombs over here, and I might have an open flag. So that's not good when your bombs, especially when you have an open flag, when your bombs get revealed early on, especially scouted. You always hate that when they get scouted by a scout. So he still doesn't take this piece. I really like to clear this column because otherwise my flag's in jeopardy. You always want to clear the column where the flag is. You'll lose so many games if you don't do that. Now remember, I do this with the flag up front as a gimmick, just so people watch, because it's fun playing with the flag up front. Plus, it gives my opponents a really good chance to beat me, especially in the first couple moves. But really, in the first 20 or 30 moves, it can be really difficult to play with the open flag on the front row. But if you're a beginning player, you really want to always bomb in your flag. That allows you to be more aggressive, and then that way they can't lotto you with their high pieces for a win. They have to bring down a minor to open up your to get to your flag. So always bomb in your flag when you're first starting out. So he did it again. I believe this was not known and this was known. And like I said, you really don't want to do that. That's you're helping your opponent out when you do that. Now in this case, this is an unknown lieutenant, and this is a known. This is a known lieutenant. But when you're playing defense, you might have to do it. So I don't want him coming with the lieutenant coming over here to maybe go this way to get my spy or to find my general. So I'll definitely swap. But when you're attacking on your opponent's side, you really don't want to. You don't want to do that. Probably should have this captain off the back row up front. Again, that's a setup flaw. So he figured that out. So now he knows these two bombs. So that's always great when you get a scout with a miner. I'm not so sure that was smart to do that. If you had a bomb here, why would you scout it, right? I don't think that was such a... I think that was a waste of a scout, unless maybe this was something important. He should have just waited to see if I went down here. Anyway. And that was only a sergeant, so I think that was a waste of a scout on that miner. So I still don't know where his high pieces are. I always like to know. So I decided to come out here just in case this was a high piece. In case it was a colonel or maybe a major. So he did it again, right? Wasn't not a known lieutenant, and he swapped again. I think he swapped again. So that's really not. He needs to be braver and come with a higher piece. Like I said, that just helps out your opponent when you swap a known piece with the unknown piece. And so this is not really good. I didn't want to get a lieutenant. And he was probably, he was always coming down with weak pieces. So maybe I shouldn't have brought out my Marshal too early. Usually I don't bring my Marshal out at all. But with a flag here, and I'm trying to win, so I decided, well, we'll have to learn how to play with the Marshal revealed. And I don't know where his Marshal is, or his general, or his colonel, so it's going to be harder to win now. Now I have to worry about a general charge. Usually when the Marshal gets revealed, your opponent move some pieces. Usually the first piece they move, if you have a lot of pieces that have moved yourself, they'll come charging in with a general, so you have to be prepared for that. Sometimes they might trick you, though, and come in with their marshal to try to capture your general, so you have to be ready for that. But I'm betting that this guy, since he's been so conservative and bringing up a lot of weak pieces, I think he would not bring up his marshal. I think he's only going to bring up his general. So I'm getting my general into position to block it. So now he has a target for his general. See, this is not good. This is poor play here. I've moved so many pieces here. I'm giving him way too many targets. So I should get my general ready. And I don't want to bring the marshal back because I have to watch this piece's move. So this is a target. So we find the colonel, so that's good. So I'm betting that this is probably his general. I really should have stayed here. This is a big gamble that I took because if this is the marshal and he goes here, and then I take him, or I attack him with my general, then he'll come down and take the colonel, and the game's probably over. So I really shouldn't have done that, but I figured this guy, he was playing so super cautious. I figured there was no way he was going to bring down a marshal. But you have to think about that when you find your opponent's marshal, or when they find your marshal. I would say 85% of the time, might even be higher, 90% of the time, they'll come down and attack with a general. But every once in a while, someone will sneak in a marshal and come down, and so you have to be ready to scout it. So I really this really isn't a mistake because of the way this guy played. But if he would have brought a marshal down here, then I would have probably lost the game. So I didn't even hesitate. I said, "Yeah, that's your general." And so now he's going to come in with his colonel, and we know that's a captain, if we can remember it. So let's see where we stand. It's always a good idea to check the leaderboard, or not the leaderboard, the scoreboard, the graveyard here. We're pretty even here. I'm up a lieutenant, and I'm down a sergeant. So that's it. So it's a really close game. Anybody can win. So he probably assumes this. He could assume this is a spy. This looks like a good spot for the spy. We still don't know where his marshal is. That's always frustrating. Now this could be the spy. I really want to know what this piece is because his general came from this area. So there's a good chance that this is a spy. So I have to be careful. Could be the marshal too. So I don't want to move my marshal away and then he attacks this piece. Alright, so we find his colonel. So that's good. Wow. I was shocked. So he decided, he played super cautious. He was only down a lieutenant and up a sergeant. And then he was up a minor. So he wasn't doing that bad, and he knew 2 of my bombs. And he decided to hit this piece. So he went with a lotto gamble. And so that's a nice thing, like I said, about this bomb setup here. And if you look at my setup now, where's the only place really I can have a bombed in flag, right? I guess here, if this piece didn't move, I don't even remember. Or here. So if you think this is where the flag is, right? Bomb, 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 and he had 2 bombs, or he moved them, 1 here and 1 here. So I guess maybe he thought he would get a good piece here, or a minor, or maybe get a captain. But and that's why I like this bomb formation. I really do. If you use this bomb formation, you're going to win a lot of games if you can get to the late level. It's just so effective. And you can have a bombed in flag with this setup. Instead of the 2 bombs that were here, you could have your flag in the corner, or you can have the other 2 bombs here and the flag here. So he decided to hit that with his colonel. So that helps me out a lot. That was kind of shocking that he came in with the colonel, because he was playing so conservative. So now I want to see what this piece is. I'm thinking, oh, so it was a minor. Okay, so now I can maneuver my Marshal up here if I want, and block stuff from going this way. He still has, that's one bad thing when you have an open flag. He still has three scouts. So, I still can be in trouble. So I have to stay in front of the flag here. So now he came down here and he's going over here. So is this a minor maybe? No. Boom. We get a captain. So that's nice. This bomb gets a colonel. This bomb gets a captain. So that's things are looking really good now. So now I'm up a colonel, captain, and lieutenant. So let's see if we hopefully don't screw this up. But one of the problems is when you get a lead late in the game, sometimes you lose your concentration. So you really want to concentrate. You don't want to give your opponent hope. And I think I gave my opponent hope in this game. But you really want to play hard to the end. Don't let up. So, but the bad thing is now he knows 4 of my bombs. So he knows I have an open flag. So that gives him some hope. Maybe that's why he didn't quit. And he knows my Marshal. And he should know where my spy is. And that was a major blunder on my part. So this is where playing stupid, when you lose concentration after you get you work so hard to get a lead, a comfortable lead, and then you let a minor come down. I should have known. This piece coming down was easy to read, right? It's coming from the back row. What do you think it's going to be? And he's attacking this. I should have either moved my major over or moved the lieutenant up. That was just bad. I wasn't paying attention. So now I know all six of my bombs. Okay, so that's good. We find one of his majors. So he does have 2 majors left. So I'm happy with swapping. The only problem is he still has 3 scouts. I have to be careful. I only have 2 miners left, so I have to protect my miners. I was hoping there was a Marshal or the spy. Not sure why he brought down a miner. I don't know why he did that. If that was a captain, that could have really hurt me here. So now I decided, well, I better attack. I better try to win. I figure maybe his flag is here. This is the most popular spot. Or maybe here. This is another popular spot. So we better get up here. Since he has 3 scouts, I have an open flag. I better get a miner up here and try to open up his flag. I didn't want his, that's one thing I didn't want. I didn't want his major to get by me to swap with this, and then he could bring scouts here. So I didn't want the major to get past my Marshal. That was kind of risky. This could have been a captain. So now we decide to bring up our miner. And now I didn't think he was going to go, he's going to attack my spy. I didn't think he was going to attack my spy. I thought he was going to try to attack one of these 3 pieces and go for the win. So this one caught me off guard. I thought for sure he was going to go down. But it doesn't make sense for me not to hit him because he's going to learn what this piece is anyway if he comes down. So I really should have, this was a blunder on my part. I should have taken the scout with the miner and saved my spy because I really need the spy. It really is helpful to guard the flag. So this was a mistake on my part. But I thought, most of the time, late in the game, people always try to hit the pieces on the back row. But he decided to get the spy, so that was... But I was happy to get the scout off the board. And... But yeah, you get the spy, but do you go for the spy or do you go for the possible win, right? If you think the flag's on the back row and it's one of these 3, I think I might have gone down for the win, but anyway. And now I'm wondering if my opponent knows that my flag is here. Because I think I would have gone down, but instead of up and got the spy. But anyway, so we're bringing the miner up to try to hopefully open up the flag. So there's another. I another scout, so we block him from coming down here. Well, he knows this is a bomb, so all he has to do is test this piece. So he only had to test these two. So so that really makes it bad. I think he really should have gone down and checked this with a scout, since he only had two pieces on the back row and he had 3 scouts. But anyway, he got the spy. I still haven't found his Marshal. And that was a good move here. I decided he's blocking me with this major from coming down. So I'm thinking maybe it's bomb, 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 flag. I decide to take it with the colonel, because then even if this is the Marshal here, then the only thing we did is we basically took 2 pieces off the board, and now I have a major with my Marshal. So that was the correct move to do here. And hopefully we can open up the flag. And it's good I have one more scout left, so we can open it up. So now this was interesting. Maybe this is bomb, 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 flag. And this is maybe spy. And I'm wondering, where is this guy's Marshal? We haven't seen the guy's Marshal. So I'm kind of confused. I was happy my colonel, and he's just shuffling around, and wow, how about that? that was a strange ending, wasn't it? We get his flag, and we win the game. So we captured the flag. When we broke gold here, we're at 509 gold spy. So that was win 72 versus 31 losses. Like I said, almost a 70% win ratio. Not bad. But yeah, that was kind of stunning. And this opponent, he never did reveal his Marshal. I wonder if his spy was here and the Marshal was here, or the spy was here and the Marshal was here. That was kind of weird why he never moved his Marshal. So we survived, even if we played a little poorly at the end. But we got the win. And we made it to gold. So yay! So alright. So I might have, I might play, I might not play. I might show a couple more games after. I played a few more after I reached gold. And those games were kind of interesting, so I might post them. And then I have a game with Drunken Player that I might post. And I still have the puzzle game I have to find and post the whole game. That was just an awful game, but it was an interesting ending. And it was the kind of game where I should have won in less than 2 minutes or maybe 90 seconds. And it wound up being a marathon game. So that game is kind of interesting. So I'll try to upload them when I have some time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this series. Like I said, I might have a few more games playing with the flag up front. And I have probably a few more games with the major attack. I might show my first game I played with the major attack, because it was kind of fun. And I think I forgot my opponent's Marshal 5 times during the game. It's so embarrassing. But it was an interesting game, and how I learned how to play with the 3 major attack. So I might show that game, and then like I said, Drunken Player, the game with him, and then we'll try to find some other games that are interesting. All right, bye for now. Hope you learned something.